Hi, it's Chris Watkin, and I'm with Charlotte Pascoe, who is a very well-known estate and letting agent in Australia, who decided to come over from Oz to learn from us English.
Yes.
Okay, yet you've been here a week. What have you learnt from us?
Things are really different. Things are really different here. I think there's a disconnect from what I understand between the individual and the vendor or the buyer. So I guess for me, that was probably something that I think I've added value to people more on.
When you say the individual, are we talking about the agent here?
Yes. Yes.
Describe to me what you were surprised about. Are we talking about the relationship between being an agent and working for a company? Are we talking about the relationship between the agent and the homeowner, vendor, or all the above?
I think all of the above.
Okay, so let's split that down. Which one are we going to do first?
Okay, so I would probably start with, in Australia, it is actually about the individual. So you're a business
The
within
agent, you mean?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you're a business within a business. So you work for a brand and you're an individual agent. So with that, we talk about social media as an example. There is an agency social media site or website. Okay. From there, you, if it's a franchise network, there'll be a branded one at the very top. Then you'll have your individual office, and then each individual agent is creating their own business within that business. So they'll have their own Facebook.
Are all
page,
of these
Instagram.
agents all self-employed, or could they be employed?
We don't get wages in Australia, so
What, no one does.
it would be very rare. So there may be the one or two that do. If you're a sales manager, you may get a bit of a wage, but it would be structured more around a commission-only split. So you'll get a higher commission split if you're on a commission only. So I think that's what you potentially call self-employed.
Yes.
Or you're on a retainer. So you will get a base, but you have to pay it back.
Ah.
So you'd get a retainer of, let's say, 40,000 Aussie, which conversion rate is about half that. But you don't.
So you get a basic, but,
Yes.
but if you don't earn it, you've got to hand it back.
In theory, yes.
Yes.
So it basically covers you. So you know that you're going to get money in to pay your bills consistently. Okay. And then once you go over a certain amount, your commission then kicks in.
Do you have many agents that take that route, or is it just raw 100% commission?
It would be a split. I think if somebody's very confident, has a huge amount of experience, and they know their numbers and they know that they can perform, if you can obtain a higher commission split by doing a commission only.
Yeah. So would it work on the basis that if you're on 100%, if you're on all commission, you'll get a greater percentage of the split?
Yes.
If you're on a retainer, you'll have a lower percentage of the fee, but at least you know you've got some money coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the kicker. I didn't realise this. You still have to pay it back if you don't hit your numbers.
Yeah.
Is that fair? I mean, would it be fair to say that agents are coming on as baby agents, or the younger ones? Do they go on to more of the commission, the retainer, so at least they know they've got some money?
If it's someone who's coming in, then a senior salesperson may create a team underneath them within their brand. So instead of trying to do all of the things themselves, because they've got such a big reputation, a huge amount coming in, they'll then start to accumulate a team. And out of that, you may employ a PA. And that PA may get a small wage, and that's their training ground. And then they will get a very small split. So they may get $1,000 instead of a $1,000 commission on a sale, as opposed to something that may equate to $6,000 or $7,000.
You see, in the UK, 99% of estate agents are employed under a brand. I know we're going to come on and talk about the balance between a brand and a personal brand and a company brand. And then we'll get, on average, 5% of the fee.
Right.
The average fee in the UK will probably be somewhere in the order of probably £2,000.
Okay. So that's lower.
So therefore, I mean, again, because we work on percentages, if you're down south, the properties are worth more. But working on an average property in the UK and working on the fact that the average fee is around 1% of the sale price, £2,000 or £2,500 sounds about right. So let's use £2,000. So the agent will be paid, as I said, about 5% of the fee. So that works out 5% of £2,000 is a very princely sum of £100.
Right.
And
That's
they'll
a bit
probably get their salary, which will probably be, should we do before tax or after tax?
Either.
Okay, so it's
What's your tax rate for income?
20 to 23%, and then you've got national insurance on top, which brings up to around 28, 29%. So we'll probably, so you'll probably pull in as a, okay, we split the roles up in the UK between the person that goes out and does the valuation of the property, and we call them the valuer or the lister. And then we have the guys in the office who are office based, who will probably arrange the viewings. I don't know if this is news to you. Arrange the viewings, chase the viewing feedback, and do the negotiating, because the valuer or lister is always out of the office, so we leave it to that person. Now that job there will probably be paid on average, excluding London, around £16,000 a year, and they'll get probably 3 or 4% of the fee, so they'll probably earn on target earnings of about £23,000 to £25,000 a year. And then the people that go out and put the houses on the market will have a basic of around, again excluding London, 20 to 25,000, and probably on target earnings of 35, and probably have a car as well.
Okay.
Would agents get out of bed in Oz for that?
Look, whatever I say here, I'm going to expect an influx of people migrating to Australia after this comment. But we, as an average, I think the average wage for a real estate agent would be close to about, I think if you convert it back, probably around about 50.
50.
Yeah.
And what do the good ones get? That's 50 grand
Up in the
UK.
millions.
So some people say, well, that's only because in Australia the houses are worth more and you charge more. In the UK, we could never, everyone in Australia charges 3-4%, don't they? And it's all vendor paid advertising, and everything's got Happy Valley, and it's all gorgeous. So how can we compare the UK? This is what people will say online. How can you compare the UK to Australia when the houses are worth more and the vendors are prepared to pay more? Because you don't have such thing as cheap fee agents, and let's be honest, Purple Bricks failed.
We do have.
You do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our agents across, so our network is predominantly Victoria. We've got an office up in Darwin and one in Queensland as well. But our offices are getting the squeeze. So they're up against agents who are saying, we'll do it for 1% commission.
1%?
1%.
Okay, but you've got your vendor paid advertising now, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Which has been a big reality as to why we get vendor paid advertising.
Okay, and I know in another video we're going to talk about that in greater detail. Okay, do you have any issues with agents with no sale, no fee, where the agent has to stump it up?
Absolutely. So a lot of agents that we're going into competition with are saying that if we don't sell it, there's no fee. So then we have to foot the bill of the vendor of the advertising,
Okay.
And we don't get a fee.
Okay, I don't want you to split it down because I want to save my gunpowder, if you don't mind me saying, for another video to split between how you spend it. But what is the average amount of spend? What's a normal package look like?
So it really depends on where geographically. So
Okay.
the closer you get into Melbourne, you can spend up to £2,500 to £3,000 just to advertise on one of the portals, which is realestate.com.au. Then we have domain. Plus on top of that, you've got to do a photo shoot, which is around about probably between 300 and 500 Aussie. So about 150 to
250, yeah. Split it in half.
Plus a floor plan. And then if they want to go social media, there's a cost with that, which is usually up to about £150.
So you're telling me, probably, do you get the no sale, no fee agents in the big cities, or is it more in the sub? Yeah. So you're telling me that there's agents out there that are putting their hand in their pocket to the tune of £2,500 per property.
Yep.
on a no sell, no fee basis,
Yep.
you've got to have some balls to know that you're going to sell that house.
You
Hold
do.
on a second. Isn't the Aussie market a bit tough at the moment?
It's really tough. We're coming out of one of the toughest markets. I've been doing this for almost 20 years, and it's been.
You must have started as a child.
I did. I was 3. Talking to a lot of our franchisees, they are saying the same thing, that it's been an exceptionally difficult market, but a different difficult market. So we're seeing a little bit of a surge. We had an election recently, and we started to see some people coming back into the market.
But costing £2,500 to list the property, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's why we need vendor paid advertising, but people still aren't getting it. So one thing we're trying to drive at the moment is getting that up front. So a lot of people will do it, but you've got to bankroll it until the property settles, and then the vendor will pay out of settlement. So I've actually worked with a company to create a vendor paid advertising afterpay system. So they will pay it. It's like a short-term loan.
Yes.
Just to try and help bankroll it for the offices, because we've got offices which, you know, may have $150,000 outstanding for advertising.
So just to confirm, you believe that the similarities between the UK and Australia, that it isn't all roses in the garden in Australia when it comes to vendor paid advertising. You're being hit
Massively.
no sell, no fee, and the agents having to put their hand in their pocket.
Yeah.
These are big monies.
And we've got, the volume has dropped quite dramatically. And we don't have investors really around as much. They're starting to come back, but it hasn't been strong on the investor front either.
What I'd like to do is, I think the subject is worthy of its own video. Could in the next video we go and talk about this balance between personal branding
Absolutely.
and company branding, and how that difference is between the UK and Australia? Is that
Absolutely.
okay? Thanks
Absolutely.
very much.
Pleasure.